Hello, good morning, friends. We are back. Today is 29th on December, so we will cover every news of the Hindu with editorial. So, hope you guys are enjoying this video. So, let's start with the main heading. Accused in Haridwar hate speech case yet to be arrested. Pre 2017 corruption has been exposed in Uttar Pradesh to Modi. Okay. Israeli airstrike triggers blaze in Syria and Latakia port. Samij 5 for helps India take a 130 run first innings lead. So this is major news. I think nothing is major. Okay. In brief, uh, side heading a joke, comes back at your cases, right? Delhi issued yellow alert. A yellow alert has been sounded in Delhi and some restrictions imposed under the graded response action plan in view of the rising number of COVID-19 cases, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal announced on Tuesday. This is this news is very concerned about the COVID situation. Okay. Haryana cabinet gets two more ministers, Kamal Gupta, Hisar MLA from the BJP, and Devendra Singh Babli Tohana MLA from the Jan Nayak Janata Party were inducted into the Haryana cabinet on Tuesday. The second expansion in the 2 years took the strength of the state cabinet to 14, the maximum permissible in the 90-member assembly. Okay, and third is we have put an end to the ABCD of SP Saha. Okay, in detail, Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Tuesday said the BJP government in UP has put an end to the vocabulary of Aparadh crime, Bhai Bhatijawad, nepotism, and corruption and dange rights that existed during the Samajwadi Party's reign. We have put an end to their ABCD. Said okay because election is about to happen in March in UP. So all the information you can get in day-to-day news. Okay. The man adding is two more vaccines and a drug join India's fight against COVID. As we have discussed several times, like yesterday also, and the day previous yesterday, we have also discussed about COVID-19 extra dose, booster dose announced by PM Modi, and for the age group of 12 to 18 is also applicable for COVID-19 vaccine. And and there is only Covaxin is applicable for the age group of 12 to 18 as the guidelines provided by government. Okay, so let's start. India has approved two more COVID-19 vaccines and the antiviral drug Molnupiravir under emergency use authorization. And Union Health Minister Man, Mandavia tweeted on Tuesday. Currently, India uses Covishield, Covaxin, and Sputnik V for vaccination. Corbevax to be made by Hyderabad-based Biological E is a protein submit vaccine and Covax 2V manufactured by the Serum Institute of India Pune is a nanoparticle-based vaccine. Cor- Corbevax has been co-developed by Biological E, the Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, US, and the US company Dynavax Technology. Co- Covovax is produced by the Serum Institute of India under license from Novavax, a US-based biotechnology company. The vaccine has been approved by the WHO under its emergency use listing and therefore will be available globally as part of the COVAX initiative to ensure that at least 40% of world is vaccinated on priority. Molnupiravir, which was approved this month by the US Food and Drugs Administration. US FDA closed on the heels of Paxlovid by Pfizer INC is said to be promising drug for those with mild and moderate disease and also easily administered as a pill. 13 companies in India are set to manufacture it. It has been approved under emergency use authorization for treating adults and COVID-19 who have high risk of progression to disease. US FDA urged caution. The US FDA in a recent statement said that because Molnupiravir worked by introducing genetic errors into the virus. It ought to be prescribed with caution and was not recommended as a preventive. And only certain adults for whom alternative COVID-19 treatment options authorized by the FDA were not accessible for or clinically appropriate. Paxlovid is yet to be approved in India. Cipla, one of the licensees, said in a statement that it planned to launch Molnupiravir under the brand name Sipmolnu. There were no details available on when these vaccines would be included in India's vaccination program. There are no studies so far to show how effective the new vaccines will be in giving protection against symptomatic infection and employed as a third dose. Okay, this information is very useful. So you can listen, repeat. You can pause the video and listen, repeat the video again to listen this news. Okay. No doctor's certification for third dose. Those below 18 and eligible for vaccination can register on CoWIN from January 1, and those above 60 with the comorbidities do not need a doctor certificate to register for a precaution dose or third dose of a vaccine that a receipt has previously been inoculated with the center set on Tuesday. Those in the 15 to 70 category will be eligible for shots from January 3 and the rest can expect them from January 10. On Monday, the health ministry said those over 60 with comorbidities could get a precaution shot following doctor's advice. Echoing Prime Minister Narendra Modi's speech on December 25, the ministry's announcement provoked consultation and criticism, seen as implying that a medical certificate would we needed to attest comorbidity. Okay. A third news video: audit irregularities led to FCRA denied. State official missionaries of charity has not requested a review. As we have already discussed yesterday also regarding the news regarding FCRA denies missionary of charity. Foreign exchange has been stopped by government because any NGO or FCR registration is mandatory for any association or government. So there is another article today published by the Hindu. So we are covering this also. Okay, let's start. A nun from the Missionaries of Charity handing over food at its headquarters in Kolkata on Tuesday. The Foreign Contribution Regulation Act (FCRA), Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, registration of Missionaries of Charity, MOC, a Catholic religious congregation set up by Noble Laureate Mother Teresa in 1950, was not renewed because of audit irregularities. A senior government official said on Tuesday. The comment comes a day after the Union Home Minister said it refused to renew the registration as some adverse inputs were noticed. In a statement on Monday, the ministry said the decision was taken on December 25. The congregation did not meet the eligibility condition. It has not requested a review of the refusal. 1 minute. Okay, we are back. FCRA registration is mandatory for any NGO or association to receive foreign funds or donation. The Home Ministry is the controlling authority of the FCRA and it conducts inspections and audits of NGOs to stabilize if their books are in order. The latest annual financial returns filed by the congregation on December 13, running into 76 pages, had details of donation and expenditures. thousands of NGOs in limbo over renewal. No, not just missionaries of charity, the international trust set up by Mother Teresa, but thousands of non-government organizations, NGOs, and charitable trusts are awaiting a decision from the government on the renewal of their permission to receive foreign funds by the year end. Tough stance. With more than 22,000 NGOs registered under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act (FCRA), experts are saying a tough time by the Modi government means at least 10 to 50% of the groups that have applied for renewal are likely to be denied permissions and stopped from accessing funding from abroad. Unless the government extends the date of scrutiny of renewal application by some months, even those whose applications are pending could be stopped from accessing foreign funds until they are cleared. So I think this is a good initiative by Modi government to stop the foreign funding. Like I am not saying that every organization is doing black marketing of money that is contributed or is and done charity by foreign trades for foreign departments. So maybe if you are getting foreign fund, so there is a need of audit and some procedures, some guidance we have to follow so that everything should be uh, so everything should be clear as crystal. So everyone should be informed about the funds from where we are getting, how much we are getting, and how much we are contributing to a public a service like to educate or to for treatment of patients, and how much we are donating in hospitals and how they are using that fund. So this is a good initiative. Okay. Another news is SEBI tightens rules on use of IPO proceeds. Stock markets regulator SEBI on Tuesday approved a ceiling on the initial public offering proceeds to be used to make unspecified acquisition. In its board meeting, the Security and Exchange Board of India approved rules capping at 35% amount for future. I know in organization in organic growth, but where no acquisition target had been identified, combined with that meant for general corporate purpose, tagging a major portion of a fresh issue for unidentified acquisition caused uncertainty for investors. The SEBI had noted earlier. The SEBI also tweaked rules for shareholders selling shares in an IPO. Global cases hit a peak. Over 1.45 million new COVID-19 cases were recorded worldwide on Monday, the highest ever number of infections witnessed on a single day since the pandemic started. This is due to the rampant increase in cases of the Omicron variant, which formed 60% of all samples analyzed worldwide in the last week of December. However, the number of deaths that continue to decline, possibly due to the higher vaccination numbers than during the previous waves. 0.84 million is the 7-day average number of daily cases on Monday. 0.84 million. Okay. And source the 6,270 number of cases were recorded in India on Monday. Okay. A healthcare worker collects swab sample in Jammu. In the last week of December, the share of samples with the Omicron variant surged to over 60% globally. The graph shows the 7-day average of new deaths fatality continue to be on decreasing trend. Average approx 6K you can note down as your death rate worldwide. And high prevalence chart shows the percentage share of sample which tested positive for the Omicron variant of the virus. 61% about. Okay, that means the positivity rate is going high. In the last week of December, the share of the sample with the Omicron variant surged to over 60% globally. Okay, next boycott extends to day 12. Doctors meet Mandavia. Minister urges them to rejoin duty. Residents, doctor who alleged police brutally during a march in the city on Monday continue to boycott work for the 12th day on Tuesday in protest against the delay in need PG counseling. About 5,000 to 6,000 resident doctors from multiple city hospitals boycotted all work accept COVID-19 duty on Tuesday. According to the Federation of Resident Doctors Association (FORDA), matter sub judice in the afternoon, a members of FORDA met Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia, who asked the protesting doctors to rejoin duty so that the public does not suffer. Today, I met the resident doctors. We are not able to do counseling because of the matter is sub judice before the Supreme Court. There is a hearing on the matter on 6 January, and the government will submit its report to the court before that. I will request for the counseling to start soon. The minister said after the meeting. After the meeting, the FORDA President Manish said the protest was stood on and they would take a call on the future course of action after a meeting at 8 p.m. Following a meeting with the Resident Doctors Association FORDA said it will continue to boycott. Okay, Jo- okay. I think there will be another article on tomorrow also on this news, so we will wait. Clean sheet to security forces in Hyderabad case killing of three civilians had triggered a special investigation team SIT of the Jammu and Kashmir Police headed by Deputy Inspector General DIG Sujit Kumar Singh on Tuesday gave a clean chit to the security forces that carried out the November 16 Hyderpura operation in which non-local militant Haider and three local people were killed, triggering widespread protest. Prima facie evidence shows Doctor Mudasir Kaul was shot by the foreign militant on the directions, possibly from across Pakistan. Building owner Altaf Bhatt was used as a human shield by the militant and was killed in crossfire. Mr. Singh said at a press conference held among the Director General of Police, Dil Singh and the Inspector General of Police Vijay Kumar. The police said the third civilian Amir Magre from Ramban was seen with the foreign militant prior to the encounter. CCTV footage and other evidence showed that Magre had accompanied the militant during the Jamalata attack in Srinagar. Magre would often travel to uh, Bandipora and Gurej, and an angel that is still under investigation, Mr. Singh said. According to the police, the militant was living in Dr. Gul's chamber along with McGray, who worked as a helper with the doctor turned real estate dealer. Okay, so we have covered first page, and in detail we will cover editorial. So before that, let's cover some important news also. Doctors demand written apology from police, as we have already seen in first page. Kejriwal writes to Prime Minister requesting him to answer new PG counseling expedited. DDF flats losing demands as many buyers opt for written location, insufficient connectivity, and quality key regions. Okay. After multiple delays, Joe Sadra Lake project nearing completion. Sadra Lake project. Okay. Scheme on septic tank just a pole plank. First back as COVID-19 cases rise, the issue yellow alert. We have already discussed on first page. School colleges set mandatory quarantine for international passengers. Over 400 FIRs lodged for COVID norm violation. 400 FIRs lodged for COVID norm violation. Okay, that is air quality very poor. We we usually see this news. Okay. And accused in three murder cases in Bihar arrested. Sensors encroachers at the Kalki temple are removed. A long road to healing. After single protester unite for the Sevan Fatehgarh Sahib in their village, farmers were accorded a hero's volume. A long road to healing. The longing to have a loved one back never goes as family affected by COVID that's learn to cope with the ache of sorrow. Okay. Opportunities. Okay, reskilling the watchword now in social sector organizations. While helping the pandemic hit, voluntary organizations have been gasping for help themselves. A survey by Ajim Premji University, that's the challenges faced by these non-profits. Is the social factor at an inflection point? SSOH in health sector and livelihood sector would be in sharp focus in the next 1 to 3 years, says the study. They reinvented themselves during the pandemic. How the step up to education based non-profit profits did justice do the roles they had been pitchforked into. Okay. For state new Rajasthan government to waive all farm loans, good initiative. And this is new enterprise connect PSH with energy and what nothing the water state development department tender inviting notice notification and appeal for identification like there is an appeal for identification of the pupil. General public is hereby informed that an unidentified person, namely unknown, about 55 years height to 5'8", with in front of Hanuman temple, Kashmir, Delhi on 20 December. This regarding case has been lodged. Okay. ID code Odisha. Already this air post news. ONGC organized students study visit at Kombek. Karaikal Jorat, Punjab National Bank entered into tie-up arrangement with the Landing Card Finance Limited for co-lending business. PNB commits last mile banking and support development to Tripura State. THD CIL offered two hydro projects in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, we have put an end to the ABCD of SP. Okay, we have seen already in the short in our first page reading. BJP is the only party that delivers what it promises, says Amit Shah. Here to change Tasveer and Taqdeer of UP. Karnataka CM says he is in good health. Okay, Vice Admiral Puneet K. Wahal is INA commandant. So you can note down it. Vice Admiral Puneet K. Wahal is INA commandant. AP forms managed to check cinema ticket pricing. MBA government postpones speaker's election to next season. The post has been vacant since Mr. Peto's resignation. IRCTC launches package to Gujarat, Goa. So all the travelers, this is a great news. You can read, you can have a view on this. Also, the Indian Railway Catering and Tourism Organization IRCTC have launched two special packages by Vibrant Gujarat and Graces Goa with Hampi from Visakhapatnam. Addressing a press conference here on the Tuesday, IRCTC area officer B. Chandra Mohan said that Vibrant Gujarat tour will be from January 21 to 31. Gracious Goa with Hampi tour will commence from February 12 to 18. Those interested can contact 6 nights and 7 days. Okay, you can contact on 8287932318 or 8287932281. Okay. At the case HC High Court admits plea against trial court verdict. Okay, 100% take first dose of vaccine in Telangana. 2.77 crore target population given the jab. Second dose coverage stands at 66%. Okay, which our editorial. So let's start about first editorial topic. It's uh, falling short. Perpetrators of violence in the name of religion must be brought to no justice. The overlook, the orgy of communal hatred at a recent event in Haridwar that was labeled a Hindu religious congregation as an inconsequential de-arrangement of fringe group may be convenient pretext for the inaction by the police and the silence of the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party BJP. But the reality is scary. The passivity of the BJP is signifier and eloquent admission of the pernicious mainstreaming of bigotry. The Uttarakhand police have betrayed a cavalier attitude in their investigation by not naming any of the ring, ringleaders initially and not showing the urgency of the case required. Subsequently, speakers at the event openly called for genocide and violence. Such bigotry is not the monopoly of adherent, adherents of any particular religion at law enforcement authorities should be eternally vigilant. The murder of two people at Sikh places of worship in Punjab in separate incidents in recent days showed how matters of religion can inflame irrational passion. In one case in Punjab, a person has been arrested and charged with murder. The shameful launchings were followed by responses from organizations ranging from the Congress to Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, but none unequivocally condemned the violence. Most reactions appear to justify the violence, privileging abstract religious sentiments over the fundamental rights to life. The Congress chief in Punjab, Navjot Singh Sidhu, spoke for many politicians seeking to exploit religion for electoral purpose when he said, "Those who offended the faith must be hanged publicly." That mainstream parties are unable to take an unambiguous and universal position that violence and the call for violence in the name of faith are unacceptable. It's unsettling and bodes ill for Indian democracy. Despite sporadic bursts of communal violence, India, unlike its neighbors in South Asia, has survived and thrived as a multicultural and multi-religious nation till date. Keeping it that way requires vigilance and vision. Violence organization in thought transmits itself through speech, manifests itself in action. Targets in the recent past have ranged from interfaith couples to carol singers to cattle traders to teachers setting question papers, new law papers, new laws paper to reinforce and institutionalize, institutionalize prejudice and intolerance. The heavy hand of the state that falls too frequently on the critics of the government has left the mobs that threaten national unity untouched. Those who committed murder in Punjab, those who called for mass murder from Haridwar, and those who vandalized Christian institutions in different places must all be brought to justice as per the law. Political parties must rise above their narrow interest during the current election cycle and unite against hate. Later may be too soon. Later may be too late. Okay. Another heading is defense. A reflexive resort to the anti-dumping duty risk is going market dynamics. The Center Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs (CBIC) recently notified the imposition of anti-dumping duty on five products manufactured in China in order to safeguard domestic produ- producers from lower-priced imports. That the Director General of Trade Remedies (DGTR), Director General of Trade Remedies, had found as being dumped in the Indian market. The items range from specific flat rolled aluminum products for solar modules and silicons sealants used in the manufacture of solar photovoltaic modules to some chemicals, including a component of the refrigerant component of the refra- refrigerant hydrofluorocarbon in almost all the five products. The Commerce Ministry agency initiated its anti-dumping investigation in September 2020 and reached its final findings about 12 months later. The CBIC's imposition of the anti-dumping levy for 5 years on the Chinese products is based on the DGTR's Director General of Trade Remedies findings that their import constituted dumping which was causing injury to local producers and an ensuing recommendation that a protective duty was warranted. A remedy sanctioned by the WTO to protect a member country's domestic industry from imports that have been priced at levels below those prevailing in the exporting nation's home market. The anti-dumping duty has become one of the India's most widely used trade weapons, especially against food of cheaper Chinese imports. As of February 2020, India had imposed anti-dumping measures on 90 Chinese products, with another 24 China-specific anti-dumping investigations in progress at the time. According to reply made in Parliament by Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal, the use of the specific trade remedy, however warranted, does, however, raise questions. A reflexive resort to the anti-dumping duty, especially if the domestic applicant is a significantly large and relatively resilient manufacturer of the product, risks skewing the market dynamics in the Indian company's favor with food with both downstream industry in the case of intermediate goods and consumers likely to face the consequences of reduced competition on final prices. Also efforts to narrow the sizable trade deficit with China by targeted resources to the levy have made little headway in addressing the widening gap as imports have continued to largely outpace India's export. The effectiveness of the measure in providing timely relief to smaller domestic manufacturers facing an existential crisis on account of suspected dumping has also been under mined in the past by a less than swift process with the DGTR ha- by the DGTR hamstrung by a person crunch, with companies worldwide now seeking to de-risk their business from an excessive reliance on China in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. The prospect of more capacity in that country turning surplus and being used to produce goods for dumping overseas increase Indian policymakers have their task cut out to polish the trade defenses in time. Okay. And that is to the editor. Hong Kong misleading remarks have been made in the editorial tightening grip December 228 in the context of China's Hong Kong Special Administrative Region SAR. First, the Hong Kong issue is solely Chinese internal affair. The principles of one country, two system Hong Kong people administrating Hong Kong and a high degree of autonomy have been implemented in a good faith, and the rights and freedom enjoyed by Hong Kong residents have been fully guaranteed in accordance with the law. Since the law on safeguarding national security in the Hong Kong SAR took effect over a year ago, the transformation of Hong Kong has been one of the charge to stability and prosperity. Now, Hong Kong residents and foreign citizens there can better exercise their legitimate rights and enjoy freedom in a safe environment. Second, the criteria to gauge an electoral system is by whether or not it can promote meritocracy. The election for the seventh term legislative council was held in an open, fair, just, and orderly fashion. Patriots administrating Hong Kong guarantees that capable patriots are elected and form a part of SAR administrative architecture. 90 members with diverse backgrounds were elected in accordance with the law. This demonstrates the new electoral system features of broad representation, political inclusiveness, balanced participation, and fair competition. This is a very successful democratic practice. China has, unswearing resolve and confidence in implementing the one country two system. We remain convinced that Hong Kong's future will only become brighter. One can also read the recent white paper. Hong Kong democratic progress under the framework of the country two systems. Okay. Okay, next is the pertinent issue of trust and the Indian politicians. High levels of criminality in politics could wreck India's democracy and imperil subjective well-being. In detail, in politics, nothing is contemplatable. Want Benjamin Disraeli, a novelist essayist, a conservative politician, and twice Prime Minister of England. He was, of course, largely right, as many politicians have criminal backgrounds and resort to lies, but there are also some who identify with the electorate, sensitive to their needs, and display a vision which transcends party politics. Two questions are pertinent. Does trust in politicians matter? Who trusts them or does not? These questions are highly pertinent in the present context as deep questions are being raised about the demise of democracy. A reinvent survey. In order to answer these questions, we rely on the Indian Human Development Survey, IHDS, Indian Human Development Survey, released in 2015. Our analysis is based on two rounds of the nationally representative IHDS in 2005 and 2012. Besides being unique as an all India panel survey, it is the only survey that asks questions on subjective well-being, SWB, and trust in public institutions such as state government, the judiciary, the police, and the politicians. SWB, or the life satisfaction, is defined as the degree to which an individual judges the overall quality of his or her own life as a whole favorably. SW is measured as perceived change in economic well-being of a household, specifically whether it is economically better off, just the same and person of. Between 2004 and 5 and 2011-12, trust is measured in ordinal levels of conflict, confidence, a great deal of confidence, and only some confidence, and hardly only confidence in both years. Our analysis shows that SWE in 2012 and trust in politicians in 2005 are negatively related, controlling for the effects of trust in other public institutions and the socioeconomic characteristics of household in 2005. By contrast, trust in most their institutions is positively related to SWB. Thus, region include ideological disconnect, failure to deliver on promises, corrupt practices, collusion with the rich and the powerful, and links with criminals. Under UPA role, the second related question addressed in detail is who tests the politicians or does not and why. One interesting finding is that those who tested politicians in 2005 lost trust in 2012, while the economic performance of the United Progressive Alliance UPA was good. Corruption became endemic, and those who fared well in terms of relative affluence, per capita expenditure of a household relative to maximum in the primary sampling unit exhibited high trust in politicians. In other words, those benefiting more than others presumably believe that they owed it to politicians to in power and hence expressed greater trust in them. Relative to the rural household, those in urban areas and slums reported lower trust. One reason is easier access to information, the latter relating to government policy failures, collusion of politicians with the rich and the powerful and criminals. Moreover, the higher level of education are negatively related to trust in politicians. Those with the matriculation and higher level of education are deeply skeptical relative to the illiterates, as they are likely to be better aware of political skullduggery and shenanigans, and not so easily swayed by rhetoric relative to the Hindus. Neither the Muslim nor the Christian expressed lower trust in politicians, presumably because alienation of minorities was not so pronounced during UPA rule. The caste hierarchy throws up a fascinating contrast. Both the Brahmins, who are at the top of this hierarchy, and Dalits, who are at the lower rung, express high trust in politicians related to the other backward classes, but perhaps for very different reasons. While as long as the superiority of Brahmins is not challenged and Dalits are protected through affirmative action, they are more likely to report high tension politicians. Affiliation in social networks too are more is positively associated with greater trust in politicians as manifestations of collective identity relative to those not affiliated to any. Congruence of the needs of the electorates with politicians, those who serve their interest better matters. This is validated by how successful social safety net programs are. For example, while widows pension and the Annapurna scheme 10 kg of food grain to eligible aged person who have remained uncovered or under the Indira Gandhi National Old Age Pension Scheme are negatively related to trust in politicians. Disability pension is positively related. The NDA years this analysis serves as the backdrop to dramatic shifts in governance following the Nation Democratic Alliance overwhelming victory in the 2014 Lok Sabha election. Over consultation deprived state governments of their autonomy, while a relentless pursuit of Hindutva through blatantly discriminatory policies. The Citizenship Amendment Act and the often brutal application by community activists against the minority, especially Muslims, ghastly violence against cattle traders, the less alienated them. How these shifted affected criminalization of politics is difficult to assess, but recent evidence raises serious concerns. Criminality among politicians has risen sharply. According to the Association for Democratic Reforms, ADR 24% of the winners in 2044 Lok Sabha election had a criminal background. It rose to 30% in the 2009 general election, 34% in 2014 election, and 43% in 2019 election. Worse, 29% of those elected in 2019 had reported serious crimes including rape, murder, and the culpable homicide between the two national parties. Out of 303 winners from the Bharatiya Janata Party BJP in 2019 election, 116 39% had a criminal record against 29 56% out of 52 winners from the Indian National Congress INC. What is indeed alarming is that probabilities of members of parliament and members of legislative assembly winning elections is about 3 times higher relative to those without a criminal background. Candidate selection. Several studies converge on the finding that parties on the cusp of winning or losing a seat are more likely to nominate a candidate with a criminal background given his or her greater probability of winning. Such candidates are typically more resourceful, protect better local interests related to land, physical security, and dignity. Where the rule of law is fragile, see a caste affiliation when political competition is ethnic and constituencies are more fragmented with a lower threshold of winning. It is also argued that dominant parties are likely to feed criminal candidates as the marginal benefit of winning a seat matters less than the marginal cost of reputational loss. While most of these findings are plausible, it is intriguing why the two dominant parties, the BJP and Indian National Congress, so such high shares of criminal MPs and MLA. To conclude, high level of criminality could wreck India's democracy and imperil well-being. Good article. So without wasting our time, let's cover another important article. Put on the data, boost the dose of transparency. The government must take COVID-19 data, including that for vaccine regulatory approvals and policy available. On December 25th, the Prime Minister of India announced two key decisions. First, all children aged in the 15 to 17 age bracket will be eligible to receive COVID-19 vaccine from January 3, 2022. Second, all healthcare workers, frontline workers, and the people aged 60 years and above with comorbidities and on the advice of medical doctor can get a third shot, a precaution dose. The policy decision was followed by a note that was released on 27 December outlining Operation Trace. The eligibility for the precaution dose will be on the completion of 9 months or 39 weeks after the second dose. The note did not mention which vaccine would be administered as the precaution dose. Teenage children whose birth year is 2007 or before will be eligible for COVID-19 vaccine. Children will receive Covaxin, the region being according to the note. It is the only emergency use listed EU World Health Organization vaccine available for use in this age group in India. Okay, already we have discussed yesterday also on the vaccine detail or availability or news given by PM Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 25th December. Opinion or evidence. The decision is said to be based on the advice of the scientific community. However, it was not clear whether that advice was based on the opinion or the scientific evidence. If media reports are yet to be believed, in the fourth week of December, the COVID-19 vaccine subgroup of the National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization (NTAGI) in India, which was supposed to review the data on the scientific evidence on the booster shot and vaccination of children, had postponed the meeting for a later date. A few members of NTAGI have written or spoken publicly about not having enough scientific evidence to administer booster dose and vaccinate children in India. The term precaution dose is being considered as a tacit acknowledgement or of insufficient evidence. What else explains not calling it a booster dose? These two decisions make nearly 7.5 crore children eligible for the primary vaccination and 3 crore healthcare and frontline workers and 10 crore of the elderly suitable for precautions. So the individuals will become eligible for the precaution dose on the rolling basis and on the roll out January 10, 2020 approximately 1 crore healthcare and frontline workers and 14 lakh of the 60 plus population will be eligible. Thereafter, every subsequent days, approximately 33 lakh to 4 lakh individuals will be added for the precaution dose. vaccinating children. Successive nation and state level zero surveys have reported that a majority of children in India had got natural infection while staying at home and thus developed antibodies. The studies have shown that children rarely develop of moderate to severe COVID-19. This is the emergence of the Omicron variant of COVID-19 has not altered the risk in children. It is in this backdrop that the benefits of vaccinating children are limited and they are considered lower in the order of priority for COVID-19 vaccination. Most public health and vaccine experts favor a targeted vaccine approach by prioritizing high risk children for COVID-19 vaccination. However, such an approach is likely to face an operational challenge in the identification of eligible children. The alternative is vaccinating all children in a small age group subgroup with the advantage of administrative simplicity. The government has opted for the second approach. As per a note released on December 27, persons aged 60 years and above with comorbidities on doctor's advice will be provided with the precaution dose. And this makes vaccination a two-step process, first seeking consultation and then getting vaccinated. This additional step could prove an access barrier and people may differ the vaccine decision for COVID-19. All the elderly are at higher risk. Therefore, it does not make practical sense in picking scientific health condition for precaution dose. There is another key concern. A majority of the elderly have one or other comorbidity. Of the 14 crore elderly population in India, an estimated 7 to 10 crore people could have no comorbidities. If they have to seek advice from a physician in order to get vaccinated, this essentially means that there would be up to 10 crore of medical consultation which would come at cost, indirect travel time and opportunity cost for individual and an avoidable burden on the healthcare system and direct cost if attended in the private sector, all of which is avoidable, making it work. Now this policy decision has been made. There need to be a few considerations taken into account in order to make its implementation effective. First, the conditionality of comorbidities and the need for advice prescription by a doctor for the precautions sought in the elderly should be done away with. If the conditionality of comorbidity needs to be written due to any scientific evidence which the government has used in decision making, then it should be a self declaration only without the need for a doctor's advice. Second, there is scientific evidence and consensus on administering the third dose for immunocompromised adults. The Indian government should urgently consider administering a third dose for all immunocompromised adults, irrespective of age. Third, studies have found that had heterologous prime boost approach third sort on a different vaccine platform is better approach among all the options. While mRNA based vaccines have the best boosting effect, the drawing back is that they are not available in India. However the Covax no Covax recombinant protein nanoparticle based vaccine is called in India has received EUL from the World Health Organization as being produced in India. Another protein based vaccine Carbo Corbevax is being developed by Biological E Limited in India. The manufacturer of the Cor- Corbevax has submitted trial data on a rolling basis to the Center Drugs Standard Control Organization (CDSCO) in India. The Indian government has already made an advance purchase agreement with the manufacturer for Corbevax on December 28. Corbevax and Corbevax were approved in India for restricted use in an emergency situation. A recent study in the Lancet has reported that the use of protein-based vaccine is a third dose would have a better boosting effect than the third sort of the same vaccine on viral vector or inactivated vaccine platform. With approval for emergency use of two additional vaccines, India should consider administering an approved protein-based vaccine as per the precaution dose. Fourth, virus pending policy questions on COVID-19 vaccine needs to be identified urgently. The technical Technical experts should be given complete access to COVID-19 data for analysis and to find answers to those scientific and policy questions. Additional studies with primary data collection should be urgently commissioned for those policy issues which cannot be answered by existing data. This is the only way to ensure the future and so that future COVID-19 vaccination decisions are based upon scientific evidence, not just the assumptions, opinion, or advice. Fifth, vaccination for teenage children exclusively with Covaxin, which means 15 crore doses for this subgroup has other implications. Covaxin will also be needed for people coming for their first shot, returning for their second shot, and then for their precaution dose. If a third shot of the same vaccine is allowed, this should be an urgent reminder for a review of vaccine supply and better vaccination stock management. Finally, the precaution dose and vaccination for children should not divert attention from the task of primary vaccination, which continues to be an unfinished task in India. 46 crore doses are still needed for the first and second so data for decision making. It was not that the booster dose of vaccination of children might have never been required. This discourse before the policy announcement of this 25 December was more nuanced, was about the right time when to start, the right interval between second dose and the booster, and selecting the right vaccine with proven benefits as booster. This was getting delayed partially due to the unavailability of COVID-19 related data to synthesize evidence and arrive at an informed decision. It is time the union and state governments in India make COVID-19 data. This includes clinical outcomes testing, genomic sequencing, as well as vaccination available in the public domain. This would help in formulating an upcoming COVID-19 policy and state gauge and also assess the impact of precaution dose as well as vaccination of children. It is also time that once technical and regulated decisions are made, the relevant scientific evidence should be made available in the public domain. The Indian government urgently needs to make COVID-19 data available, including the one used for regulatory approvals of vaccines and for vaccine policy decisions. This will bring transparency in decision making and increase the trust of the citizen in the process. Okay, we have covered first page some important news and editorial page. Now we will cover only some important news, then we will end on this session. This has already been a long session. So, okay. Desmond Tutu, the conscience keeper, if he wanted to be respected, non-cancellation to attempt and justice to be inaugurated, vying for influence over Kabul, the Arab Gulf is poised to become an important player once again in a Taliban-ruled Afghanistan. Okay. Lack of political will, it is time to encourage fishermen to adopt sustainable practices to put an end to the Park whale contract state's performance on health indicators. Okay, okay, you can note down first four out of the five major states in the 2019 to 20 index are from the south. Uttar Pradesh secure score improved by 22% compared to 2018 to 90, the highest among the major states. Kerala performed best on the maternal mortality ratio and under 5 mortality rate parameters. Okay, you can note down maternal mortality ratio. Kerala first 43 rank 18, Maharashtra 17, Tamil Nadu 16 rank, and some 215, UP 197, MP 173. Okay, and mortality rate USMR. Kerala 10, Tamil Nadu 17, Maharashtra 12, UP 47, and the proportion of institutional deliveries Telangana 96%, Kerala 92, Maharashtra 91, UP 60%. And the propagation of shortfall of healthcare provider against the required number: Haryana 1.45, Punjab 5.33, Telangana 7.54, UP. There is no place of UP. Death registration. Okay. Tomorrow, that means UP is very UP is in very severe situation in every area, almost in every area, not all. Two more vaccines join fight against COVID-19, already discussed in detail. CU arrested its own officer for forgery. Haridwar accused not arrested as he orders an offense with maximum penalty of 7 years may be invoked. Officer Bagel asked Kali Charan to surrender. Doctor certificate not much for third dose already discussed. Audit irregularity led to FCRA denied officer already discussed. CPIM Congress Slam moved to open up Jammu and Kashmir real estate. Hurriyat appeals to global community. Rajnath unveils border roads, bridges, strong infrastructure helped India face adversary with great stage. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. Okay, on Tuesday, thousands of NGOs in limbo over FCRA renewal already discussed. Indianizing the legal system and SC's view judgments so conscious effort at getting rid of the crutches of colonial influence forced to name BJP RSL leaders in Malegaon case witnessed declared hosted by NIA court. Clean chit two forces in Hydropura operation. Okay, pre-2017 perfume of corruption exposed in Uttar Pradesh. Modi PM links SP to businessmen who premages were searched by GST official. Important news of UP. Okay, there was no kind of scum say. Perfumers neighbors tax search yielded 194.45 crore in cash, 23 kg of gold. Okay, Rana gets two more ministers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi taking a ride on the Kanpur Metro with Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and Union Minister Deep Singh Puri on Tuesday. Okay. Punjab polls up religion on the list. Congress will fight divisive ideology, says Sonia. She was speaking at the 137th foundation day of the party. Two Congress MLAs from Punjab joined BJP. It reflects the state of affairs in party. But IT department unearths over 5 crore rupee black in income. Assets worth more than 27 crore seized. Okay. And the man detained in Germany in Ludhiana blast case. 6358 new COVID-19 cases reported, 75 confirmed with the Omicron variant. No new case in Maharashtra. Sharp jump in Gujarat. Biological E to ramp up Corbevax output and 100 million doses a month from February. GI tax sought for Aptani textile products. COVID drug to hit pharmacies soon. Several Indian pharma majors gear up to launch Molnupiravir capsule. Okay, drones to monitor illegal liquor manufacturing in Bihar. Over 3.5 lakh people have been arrested under the law. Let Indian music take flight ministry, but it didn't say what music would be considered Indian to be played at aircraft. Need bill file under consideration. Over 15 crore registered on Isram portal. Apollo Hospital to set up hospital in Jammu and Kashmir. Aditi the river. Omicron can disrupt health system and WHO issued warning Europe and China imposes measures to check speed of COVID-19 variant. Since court ordered shutdown of rights group memory was declared a foreign agents in 2060. Syrian ports set ablation register. Britain-based war monitor claims a cargo contained arms and ammunition. Chinese space station has close save with Elon Musk satellite. Beijing's complaint to UN over irresponsible conduct. US-Russia talks in early in Geneva. In Geneva. Four died, three injured in US shooting place. One protest, 11 killings of former soldier. And Turkey. RBI flex banks capital buffer needs. SEBI tweaks share sale norms for IPO. Okay, expect increase in tax annualization soon. Ambani talks of leadership transition. Government to accept extra APLA application from January 1 and 10,683 crore rupee plan was unveiled in September. Airlines put travelers with no fares. GDP to grow 9% in financial year 22 and financial year 23. ICRA net loss to economy with from pandemic estimated to $39.3 trillion during 2021 to 23. Indian cricket is in a good place now for future. Perhaps it is time to groom someone for the number three slot to where Subhaman Gill might be a natural fit. India versus Bangladesh in semi-final under 19 Asia Cup, and India hits back through semi, takes up 130 run first timings lead. We adapted and kept up the pressure, says Sami. But okay. and sport. Big win for Naval Tata. Gosami United. Decision to upon Javala Justice and they tax and contact COVID-19. How it is. So we have covered almost every niche of the Hindu newspaper from first page to from first page to last page with editorial in detail. So hope you are enjoying this video. If you are enjoying this video, so let's please like this video, share this channel, subscribe to this channel also, and please know, comment us on the comment section what you want to do in so that we can improve day by day about speaking and dialing skills and listening skills too. Okay, thank you for uh, watching this video in detail. Please complete it and please share and subscribe this channel as much as possible. Have a cheerful day. Thank you. We will meet on 30th December. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day. We will meet on Thursday. Thank you.